Hello, my name is Andrea Fischer, and I'm an education specialist here at Mental Health America Lakeshore. I'd like to welcome you to this presentation of B4Stage4. In this presentation, I will teach you to think about mental health in a way similar to caring for our physical health. We don't wait years to treat diseases. We start with prevention. Due to the nature of what we'll discuss, this might be hard for some of you because of lived experience. So just a reminder to check in with yourself, be kind to yourself, and take breaks if necessary. So a little bit about our background before I launch into the presentation. Mental Health America has been in the area since 1953. We serve our community by providing prevention and education around mental health, access to care, recovery and support, and advocacy. Our office is located in Plymouth, Wisconsin, and we are one of 144 Mental Health America affiliates across the nation. Here's some specifics on how we help. We have an information and assistance program. So if individuals call and they need a little extra support and they need some help with navigating help or resources around mental health, they can give us a call to reach out. We have support groups, community events, and a very comprehensive therapist directory. We do educational programming in schools, communities, and workplaces, including QPR suicide prevention training. Our advocacy expands to students in high school and colleges and in the workplace. We work very hard to reduce stigma around mental health. We're part of MHA national initiatives, and we work with the Positive Mental Health under the Community Health Improvement Plan. And basically what that means is it's a coalition that's formed to move mental health initiatives forward. And as you can imagine, mental health struggles have been identified as one of the top public health issues. So we work very hard to change the narrative and improve the mental health of individuals in our community. As we move forward, here's a short video that explains the before stage philosophy. So looking at mental illnesses in the same way we would look at physical illnesses. We want to catch it in the early stages.
Our brains control how we act in the world. But did you know the world around us also affects our brains? Our genes, environment, and social interactions all work together to shape the way our brains develop. Sometimes these factors combine in ways that create unhealthy thoughts or feelings. Over time, these unhealthy thoughts and feelings become so unmanageable that we need outside support to get better. 50% of people will develop at least one mental health condition during their lifetime, and half of those people will develop a mental health condition by age 14. Unfortunately, it takes about 10 years for people to get the treatment they need. We don't wait to treat health problems like heart disease or cancer until stage 4. We shouldn't wait to take care of our mental health. The right early treatment can change lives, reducing school dropout rates, hospitalization, incarceration, and unemployment. Imagine what the world would look like if we all got the help we needed when we first started showing the early warning signs. Start the conversation before stage 4. Visit mentalhealthamerica.net to get informed, take an online screening, and better understand your own mental health.
These statistics usually surprise people when we share them. 1 in 5 American adults will have a diagnosable mental health condition in any given year. 50% of Americans will meet the criteria for a diagnosable mental health condition sometime in their life. And then note the onset on which most of those conditions occur. It usually begins by age 14. This matters to everyone because so many of us will be affected directly at some point in our lives, either ourselves or someone we care about. By learning about mental health or before stage 4, we are able to help ourselves and those we care about and be better equipped to handle the challenges in life. Again, if you look at these statistics, you should feel less alone if you or somebody you love has struggled. Mental illness is common. We're here to offer support and hope because there are treatments available, whether it's therapy or medication, getting involved in support groups, there is hope and there is treatment. So let's quick take a look at what the difference is between mental health and mental illness because we hear those terms all the time. So it's important to note that we all have mental health, and just like physical health, everyone's might look different. Mental health really exists on a spectrum, and each of us are very likely in a very different place. And we may move around on that spectrum throughout our lives. In general, our overall mental health involves effective functioning in daily activities. It's that ability to be resilient and change and cope with adversity. So when we talk about mental illness, it refers collectively to all diagnosable mental disorders. Let's take a look at some of the risk factors for mental illness according to studies. Genetics account for 17 to 28% of risk for mental illnesses. Environment. So, for example, people who are exposed to adverse childhood events, including abuse, neglect, divorce, witnessing domestic violence, or perhaps having parents who have substance abuse problems, they are 2.6 times more likely to struggle with depression in their life. Biology. We know that we're all unique individuals, and the balance of chemicals in our body and those patterns of cell communication are risk factors. And then, of course, lifestyle. The way we take care of our bodies can affect those risk factors as well. So we want to be very mindful of the diet that we are eating, making sure we're getting enough sleep and exercise. So let's take a look at some of the symptoms when people are beginning to struggle with their mental health. So you can see there's sleeping issues, thoughts or plans of hurting oneself or someone else, hearing voices, unexplainable changes in thinking, writing, or speech, being overly suspicious or fearful, changes in appetite, isolating oneself, so pulling away from things they normally enjoyed or people they normally enjoyed being around. Other changes where people are very irritable and acting very out of character or almost bizarre. When you see those signs and symptoms, this is when it's time to reach out and get some muchly needed support. So we've identified 4 stages in which people move through when they are dealing with mental health conditions. Just a reminder that this is a general path, but we don't always see this path in this progression. Some people may not show stages 1 or 2. They may not show some of those signs and symptoms because they're masking, or perhaps there's some shame. Let's talk about one of the most common mental illnesses, and that is anxiety. 20% of adults in the United States have met criteria for an anxiety disorder in the past year. It's one of the most common types of mental illnesses. And then note some of the symptoms: that restlessness, difficulty concentrating, overwhelming fear, paralyzing fear. This affects about 40 million US adults annually. Also, mood disorders such as depression. So if we look at the amount of people that are affected in the United States, it's around 17.3 million that have had at least one major depressive episode each year. And under some of the specifics, that includes bipolar disorder, major depression, seasonal depression, postpartum depression. And then note some of the signs and symptoms: the persistent sadness, usually it's lasting 2 weeks or more, weight or appetite changes, difficulty sleeping, withdrawal, perhaps thoughts of suicide. So what can we do? How can we start to address mental health before it reaches that stage of critical concern? We have to start by addressing the stigma around mental health. We want to stop the negative stigma. You can read through these definitions of what stigma means. Unfortunately, there still is a lot of work to be done as far as stigma. We've made progress, we've gotten better, especially after COVID. I think people are more apt to talking about mental illness, and it's become more acceptable to discuss publicly, but we still have quite a bit of work to do. Here are some specific things you can do to help stand up to stigma. You're getting educated today on mental health. We should be talking more openly about it and ending some of that shame around it. We want to start to encourage that equality between our minds and our bodies. We're listening and supporting others with mental health concerns. We're pointing them to the direction where they could go if they need help. You could certainly call us. Ask them to call or text 988 if they're in a crisis situation. You could ask them to reach out to their physician. See the person for who they are, not their condition. Use inclusive language, show compassion. And last, I'd like to point out that if you'd like to be involved even more, Vollrath has a Minds Matter employee resource group, which works to end the stigma around mental health and promote the well-being of the employees. So reach out if you're interested in being a part of that initiative. I also oversee a program called Student Ambassadors for high school and college students. It's a free program for anyone to join, and it's a good way for students to get involved with continuing that conversation around mental health and promoting good mental health among their peers and ending some of that stigma. Here's some more specifics on other things you can do, getting involved in programs, trainings, activities, doing things for yourself that promote stress management, relaxation. Studies have shown that volunteering gives us a sense of purpose, boosts our mood. And then serve as a wellness champion in your workplace. Again, consider getting involved in the Minds Matter employee resource group. Share your personal experiences with others. Share what you've gone through, what's helped for you. Utilize your EAP health benefits. Find out how many therapy sessions you can get with your EAP. Offer others to seek help as well. Again, check out those wellness goals, especially getting a good work-life balance. Use those vacation days. You're not alone. We're here to offer hope and resources. Again, thank you for listening and getting informed about how you can identify signs and symptoms of mental illness in people that you love. Also, I want to point out there is an online screening on our website, mhalakeshore.org, and you can go on our website and do a screening if you or someone you love is showing some of those signs and symptoms. Not meant to be a diagnosis, it's meant to be a starting point so you can take the results and share those with a physician or with another trusted person who supports you. Our email address is also listed there if you would like to reach out for specifics on support or other resources. There's a link to that screening that I was talking about. This is on the MHA national website, and you could go to this website or our very own local mhalakeshore.org website, and you'll find the same screening tool. And lastly, I just would like to, again, thank you for helping to increase awareness around mental health and reducing some of that stigma. Your community's mental health really does matter. And if you could, before you are done with this presentation, you could scan the QR code with your phone and offer us some feedback on our presentation today and how we can improve. Thank you and have a great day.